Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on this historic day that has truly been decades in the making. We stood in this very spot nearly 3.5 years ago with nothing but the Kennedy Bridge behind us. And that's when we were breaking ground on the downtown crossing. We can get a lot done in 3 years, can't we? We're here to mark the end of the downtown crossing, the major work. And teamwork has been a signature element of this project. From the bi-state cooperation of our leaders that broke the logjam, to the crew of engineers and highway construction workers that designed and built it. Now, I don't want to start a long list of thank yous because Lord knows we'll be here for much longer than we have. But I do have to deliver a big thank you to the drivers and the public. They've endured the most with this. They've been patient, they've been supportive, they've endured the longer commutes and the major traffic changes. And that patience is paying off. We built a much better system for them to get across the river. So thank you. And it's only been possible, this project, because of our wonderful partners at the federal, state, and local level. Our state and congressional leaders in Frankfort and Washington have been big supporters. And we're pleased to have several representatives here today, past and present. I also want to thank the Federal Highway Administration, represented by Thomas Nelson and Mayela Sosa. Thank you all. Our tremendous partner for this project really didn't have much of a choice because they're right across the river. Indiana, INDOT, Indiana Department of Transportation. This is one project with 2 bridges, and we couldn't have done it without them. So thank you guys. And I also have to thank the leader of our great team, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Secretary Greg Thomas, and State Highway Engineer, my boss, Patty Dunaway. So thank you too for all your help and support with this. And a big thanks to the boots on the ground. This is the folks I got to work with every day, and it's what made this job probably the pinnacle of my career. Walsh, Community Transportation Solutions, HDR, our inspection crew, and then the KYTC guys. And I personally want to call out Rob Harris, Will Nolan, Jeremiah Littleton, Dave Kessinger, Kyle Parks, Ben Baker. I've never worked with a better group of engineers, more resourceful, more creative, and more dedicated to getting a project done, and they've committed a lot to getting this done, so thank you to you guys. I doubt I'll ever work with a better team than that. And I'll never work with a more fun team than that either, I can guarantee you. So I appreciate them for making it fun. And finally, thanks to the many community leaders who had the vision and fought for this project. From members of the Bridges Authority in KYTC to business leaders, your perseverance helped make this project a reality. And the list isn't in there, but we have some barrels to move. As we stand here this afternoon, we're surrounded by these orange barrels, and I think it's a feeling our drivers are ready to get behind them. So today, we're starting to say goodbye to those barrels, and we're saying hello to a safer and faster commute across the river. I'd like to welcome Lieutenant Governor Jenean Hampton to the podium to share the good news. Governor?
Thank you, Andy. Well, after more than 40 years of negotiating and talking and planning, I'm here to make an exciting announcement. The downtown crossing portion of the Ohio River Bridges project is complete. Right. Yes. And it gets even better. It's completed on budget and ahead of schedule. That's great news. And on behalf of every driver who's been stuck in Spaghetti Junction or who inadvertently found themselves in Indiana, hallelujah. It's a great day for Kentucky and for Indiana, and especially for those who travel back and forth between the 2 states. And what this project does for both states is it makes the commute faster and safer. And for the tens of thousands of people who travel through the interchange and as well as has crossed the river each day. It makes it easier for Kentucky and Indiana companies to do business. And the doors are already opening to new business opportunities on both sides of the river. You know, I've spent much of my career in manufacturing, and I know the value to our businesses of on-time delivery and the ability to ship to our vendors and distributors on time. And it's critical that that companies meet deliveries on time, and this project will certainly help. As Lieutenant Governor, I'm focusing on what I call the 4 E's. It's entrepreneurship, example, education, and emergency preparedness. And this project actually feeds into all 4 of those E's. So for example, entrepreneurship. In an age when everyone expects next day delivery, it's important that we protect the logistics advantages that we have here in Kentucky. And certainly this project will make it easier for products made in Kentucky and Indiana to be shipped to uniquely reach the world on time and quickly. And this project ensures that this region continues to deliver on those fronts. The second E, example. I'm a firm believer in leading by example, and on this project we have seen several entities come together and cooperate. The city, the state, the public and private sectors have shown what can happen when we work together to get things done. And Indiana certainly has been a tremendous partner throughout the project, and now our communities are united like never before. The third E, emergency preparedness. It certainly is important for a city to have an escape route in case of an emergency, in case there's an exit. The new Lincoln Bridge and the East End Bridge are important additions to our security here in Kentucky, and they're important connectors for our communities. And the fourth E, education. You know, I had a grandfather in Illinois, a great-grandfather actually in Illinois, who would just sit by, he was retired, he sat by the side of the road and watched a freeway being built. He loved the process, the building process. It was educational for him. And this project, this bridge project, has provided an opportunity. It's a living engineering lesson. And so certainly at the museum has gotten, the Kentucky Science Center has gotten visitors, the bridge building exhibit. And this has really been a lesson in watching a project from start to finish for kids and adults alike. And so the lessons learned there won't end with construction, because what we've learned is cooperation and determination and what we can do with both. And certainly we couldn't have asked for a better partner than our neighbor to the north, Indiana. And so it is my great pleasure to introduce my colleague from across the river, the newly elected Indiana Governor-elect Eric Holcomb.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Hampton, and to all of our distinguished guests, it's good to be with you all, and most importantly, to the men and women who built this bridge and got that spaghetti straightened out again. We are working together like never before, and it's just been such a exciting process to witness it all come together. It's no longer a rhetorical building a bridge to the future. We have done it on both sides of the mighty Ohio, and that just means, as Lieutenant Governor Hampton just alluded to, that means jobs, 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 and it allows people to better determine their own destinies. And we all have so much to be proud of, improving the capacity of this, adding this bridge to the overall projects over the Ohio River, opening this region to new business and growing businesses. Indiana and Kentucky, this region is truly on the move, and this has just underscored that yet once again. We all know, we've all talked to, and I've certainly heard from residents who for years and years and years, decades in fact, who never thought it could be done, and we've just proven once again that this is no longer talk, this is no longer the art of the possible, this is the reality. And what a good sound that commerce sounds like right now. We've done it because we did. We worked together, proven that it does work, and I'm once again just so proud of the men and women who did it, and they are due all of our gratitude for this transformational project that we're just at the beginning of it. It's truly my honor I've had the occasion to introduce the next speaker many, many times before, always in our home state. I used to introduce him as Congressman Todd Young, but I'm going to introduce him today to you as Indiana's next United States Senator, Todd Young.
Well, thank you to our governor-elect and all of you. I appreciate the many people whose hands helped build this bridge. I'd like to reiterate the comments of one of our earlier speakers about the importance of the public and their patience with respect to this project and their belief in it, seeing through some of the hassles and difficulties and challenges, and we're in a better spot here today on account of that. I am so happy to be with you on this occasion. I know how many people have played a pivotal role in this project as we think back over the decades, really, but most especially over the last number of years. The Ohio River Bridges Project is, of course, a great example of what can be accomplished when people from different states, different communities, different levels of government, and even different political parties work together. What we've been able to accomplish is truly remarkable. When this project was finally coming together after years of talk, it was expected to take many more years to build it than it actually did, at a cost of more than $4 billion. It's not often that you can talk about a project, especially a project of this size and scope, where the cost is nearly cut in half and years are shaved off of the timeline. A project that was expected to take a decade to complete finished in 3.5 years. That means the people of southern Indiana and Louisville are enjoying the benefits of this project today, rather than waiting for years for its completion. This is a can-do example of what happens when good people work together, and we need to see more of it at all levels of government to the benefit of all of our citizens. The project was designated as one of 13 infrastructure projects of national importance, and it's clear why. The improvements made to this important corridor will be felt far beyond the borders of our two states, and I look forward to future progress and collaboration as we move forward. Now I'd like to introduce a man who knows very well what a big impact the downtown crossing is going to have on this immediate area, Louisville Mayor Greg Fischer.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for coming out. This is one of these projects where it's a great example of it stretching over many years and many administrations, but getting it done. I want to thank Andy Barber. Andy has been here from the beginning of this project all the way to today and has really represented the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet with great honor. So, Andy, thank you for everything that you've done for this project. Hopefully that's a big smile on your face there. I also want to recognize Representative Jeff Donahue, who's here, and Representative Larry Clark also. Representative Clark has got the full history of this project for decades and decades, and he led with finesse and strength to help build a bipartisan agreement here in Kentucky to get our part of the project done. So, Representative Clark, I want to say thank you as you exit public life. Wonderful legacy to the job that you've done here. Thank you. Also want to thank two guys that aren't here, and that's Governor Fischer and Governor Daniels. In December of 2010, they asked me to meet with them in the office of Governor Daniels in Indianapolis, and that's when we started discussing the challenges around this project. And Congressman/Senator Young talked about one of them, and that was we couldn't afford it at $4.5 billion, because what the people of both southern Indiana and Louisville were saying was, we want a new bridge, but we got to be able to afford to go across it. And kind of the threshold was a $1 toll for frequent users. And so the project was value engineered by both transportation cabinets and has resulted in a beautiful project. I can't imagine what it would have looked like if it actually cost $4.5 billion, but it's just a wonderful example of people coming together to meet the needs of the citizens here. And as we welcome a new administration in Washington, D.C. in the next couple of months, we're hearing talk of major infrastructure projects for the country. And Lord knows we're way overdue as a country with more modern infrastructure, especially compared to the rest of the countries around the world. So I'm hopeful maybe that's an area that everybody can agree on and put people back to work and making good wages throughout our country. But this truly is an exclamation point for what's going on, not just in this region, but in our city as well. Louisville is going through a real renaissance right now. We have $8 billion in capital construction either underway or planned in our city right now. 23 new hotels are under construction. There's an expanded convention center as well. We receive 24 million tourists a year, and it's growing every year because of bourbon tourism and food tourism, and nobody can take that away from the state of Kentucky. So this bridge comes comes at a good time for our city. I want to say thanks too, on behalf of all of our 760,000 citizens, for one, putting up with this. Normally when projects like this happen, you're like, God, it seems like it's going on forever. Walsh Construction and the team that put this together performed so admirably throughout this project. And the safety record on this project, too, was incredible. Done with great skill and great safety. I want to thank all the folks that labored to put this together. The carpenters, the electricians, the iron workers, the laborers. Winburn families here on behalf of them. Equipment operators, painters, truck drivers, and many, many more folks were showing up here day in and day out, whether it was 110 degrees in the middle of a hot summer day or 10 degrees on a cold winter day, and they just kept at it. And if you were in, let's hear it for them. It's just really impressive, the constancy of purpose that they had to result in this beautiful, beautiful project here at the end of the day. So thanks very much to everybody involved. We're happy to have this day. Mayor Mike Moore, my colleague from across the river, started talking about this when we were elected. And Mike, I'd say it's a happy day. Please welcome Mayor Mike Moore from Jeffersonville.
Oh, it's a great day here. I tell you, there is so many people to thank, but I want to start with you all because so much of this construction has changed and altered everybody's daily commutes, whether you're going to Indiana or Indiana is coming to Kentucky. It's been a headache, but it's been done in a very timely fashion, and I can't thank Walsh enough. The construction crews, the courtesy employees, they have been a vibrant part of the economy of Jeffersonville, Indiana, and I cannot thank you enough. They've taken the time to make friends with my storefront owners. They eat, sleep, and dine and carry on in downtown Jeff. I'm going to miss them. I don't want another bridge project coming behind, but if I did, Walsh would be my first call. You know, I've said for a number of years, Jeffersonville is a city on the move. That's never been more true than it is today. The economy is booming. We've got developers who are exploring. We have on our hands a need for more housing because of all the new influx of people coming into the city who want to call Jeffersonville home. We're going to give them that opportunity. We've got our work ahead of us, but we're headed in that direction. I want to speak a little bit about being a dad of 3 kids, Shelby, Allie, and Garen. They've watched this project from the beginning. We've come up here and kind of looked over the progress. Every step along the way, I've been explaining things to them and telling them, here's what's happening now, here's what's going to be over here. I can't emphasize enough. This bridge, we all look at it as a convenience for us. This is our future right here. This is our next 50 to 60 years. We are so far ahead of most places across the country right now. I was walking to the Big 4 bridge this morning at 7 o'clock. I look over at the bridge over here. Traffic is smooth sailing going both directions. we open that East End Bridge, it's going to get easier and easier. I couldn't be happier than I am right now to be here before you and say 3.5 years have come. We've accomplished what we set out to do, being below budget, being ahead of schedule. It's a good feeling. And with that, I want to introduce somebody you may not have met before, but I assure you has been the key figure in making this project happen. So with all the thanks to everyone else, and I do want to just say to the police officers, I know when there's been an accident or a headache up on the bridge through this construction phase, it's caused a lot of fear. I will say it, I'm sure there's a lot of anxious moments up there. Thank you for getting the job done and not complaining. It was very much appreciated. But with that, I want to introduce the Walsh Construction Project Manager, Nick Faul. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Mayor Moore. Many of us at Walsh Construction have called Louisville and Jeffersonville home over these past 4 years, and truly it has felt like home. The communities have been welcoming and appreciative of us. It never gets old when we walk into a local business wearing our Walsh attire and someone approaches us telling us how great of a job we've done. We don't always hear that wherever we are. So, construction has been in progress for 3.5 years now, and I think it's become a little ordinary to all of us with the barrels and the construction equipment around. But I want everyone to remember what all has been accomplished in this time. We've built a new 6-lane Abraham Lincoln Bridge, a dramatically improved Kennedy Bridge, and a new and improved interstate connection on both sides of the river. We've built more than 60 bridges, more than 60 retaining walls, and nearly 50 miles of new roadway. And this couldn't have been done without the hardworking men and women who worked on this project and did all of it while maintaining 3 interstates and access to the river every day, across the river every day. We delivered ahead of schedule and on budget. At our peak, more than 800 men and women were working on this project. Some of them grew up here and have heard people talk about this project for many years. Others were new to the area and came to love it. A few even decided to stay here. Now, all these men and women can tell their children and grandchildren about what they've built and be proud of it. And one of the things we at Walsh are proudest of is we did it safely without any major injuries. So I'd like to give a round of applause to all the men and women who did the work. And I'd also like to give a round of applause to the drivers who put up with us over these last few years. So now I believe Andy Barber is going to take us to a close.
Thank you, Nick. And from the remarks this afternoon, it's clear just how much this project has meant to the region. We have made it easier and safer to cross the Ohio River. We have set the stage for economic growth, better lives, and a stronger community. The Lincoln Bridge is a beautiful and iconic addition to our skyline. This project is transforming our region, and the positive impact will be felt for years to come. So the journey starts today. I'm going to ask all of our speakers and FHWA to come up here and stand by one of these barrels. Now let's get ready to get these barrels out of here. To all your drivers, no more orange barrels for a while. It's been quite a ride. Thank you all very much. We've also got some tokens. Be sure and get your tokens that are being passed out. We got some frames up here for to get your picture taken. And one thing, I want to thank the media, too. You guys helped us get the message out, which led this being a safe project, too. So thank you all so much. All right. Let's load them up in the back of that truck over there.